Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation.
Keeping the link between Belizeans in the diaspora and those at home is key to the continued development of Belize. The Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations partnered with our Belize Watch team to highlight some of the Belizeans who continue to give back to their home country. Wilburn Defoe sat down with our team and spoke of the early days of his migration to the United States. We will have that discussion after we hear from our partners, Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, the Barry, Shell Belize, and the National Gas Company.
Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited project became a reality because Belizeans believed in the project and invested in its development, construction, and implementation. Equity financing for the project featured investments from local enterprises as well as one foreign investor. The public-private partnership structure of the project facilitated government's ownership of a 25% stake at no cost to the taxpayers. Debt financing for the project featured the successful launch of Belize's first ever project bonds, some $30 million financed by a cross-section of institutional investors. Investments came from credit unions, notably St. Francis Xavier Credit Union and Holy Redeemer Credit Union, insurance companies, pension funds, and commercial banks. In addition, the project managed to successfully secure some $12 million in debt financing from the IDB Invest. The IDB's participation in this debt financing is a testament to their belief in the environmental, social, and governance principles taken on by the developers of this project. This project is a testament to the growth and development of Belize's financial system. It shows confidence of Belizean investors to put their money behind homegrown and developed projects that contribute to our national development. I am proud of this project, and I'm hopeful that there are many more like it to come.
The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Be less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The Trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from.
And still in Miami, I have the honor and privilege of talking with Wilburn Defoe, a Belizean who reside in the Miami area. Exactly where you live, Wilburn, in this area?
I live in the northeast heart of Miami, which is in the Morningside area. And I've been there for like about 35 years.
Well, I'm not familiar with the area. I must confess. But you have told me where you live. I asked the question. You told me where you live. Now let's get to know you then, Wilburn. Let's find out who exactly is Wilburn Defoe. Thanks for agreeing, by the way. Thanks for agreeing to have this conversation with me.
Well, I was born in Belize. I attended a lot of schools in Belize when I was small. Yeah, man.
How that work out? How you attend a lot of schools?
Well, my parents, they moved me from St. Mary's. They moved me to one of the Catholic schools. Then they moved me back to St. John's. Then they moved me back to Calvary Temple. Then I ended up in Salvation Army. That's where I finished my primary education. And after that, I went to St. Michael's College. Actually, I was going to go to Wesley, but my parents also tell me, you're not going to wear any white clothes, because you're going to dirty it. So they sent me to St. Michael's, and I was there under the principal, Blockett. And he was very instrumental in shaping some of our lives in certain things. Then Michaels went through a situation where the school started to decline, and I don't know if it was because of finance or a lot of things was going on at the time politically. UBAD and some of the teachers there that were also one of them was from UBAD, Guy Franklin, and we had the older guys that were embracing the idea of UBAD, and we were juniors, so we came up the ranks listening and learning different things, and eventually we changed principal like most nearly every year. We end up with Ralston Cowie, then we end up with the final part, we end up with Dr. Young, who was the Governor General, and after that, I went to technical, and I did technical 2 years, high school back again to catch up, and I end up basically went to sixth form to technical, we did my A-levels and thing, and I ended up working with Cable and Wallace after that.
What are some of your memories of growing up in old Belize in those days? We're talking now about the 60s, I take it.
Yeah, in the 60s. Under that part, I had some great memories. I basically toured Belize because my dad that raised me, Mr. Bob Panton, he took me on a lot of trips as paymaster. You know, we were out at Half Moon Key to the next key, Bokel. We went to some of the keys down south, and we went to a lot of keys up north. Then I was also had a close guardian, call him Mr. Khaled Meher, who I used to go on his lighters and sail. On summer, I used to sail with the gentlemen them and get sun and different things. And I've been to San Pedro, Kikaka, you name it. I've been with them wherever they go. And as a youth, I was also in the scouting. I did a bit of scouting. Then I sort of veered from that. And as I finished technical and everything, as I said, I ended up going to England to study telecommunication, which was an open field.
That's after working with Cable and Wireless.
That's where I worked.
How you landed the job with Cable and Wireless?
Man, I'll give you a joke, but don't laugh. Okay. I think it was like 74, when I was going to sixth form, before going to sixth form, I applied to government to do like a internship for like the summer. You know, you do summer jobs. All my buddies, they were doing the same thing, so I said, let me try it. Didn't get a response. Now, the funny part, my brother, father was the PS establishment. Mr. Dacus. And we used to go to his house every day and I never did get a response. So when I was about to finish sixth form, there was an opening in the newspaper for a technician in Cape Town. So I said, let me apply. And applied. I was doing radio. I learned radio through Mr. Jenkins. And he taught me radio while helping him in the shop and thing. So that was a plus with what I did. And I sat down with the manager at the time for Cape Town, which was Mr. Dan, and he interviewed me, and apparently when I was surprised, they called me and said, you know, when can you start work? I said, let me know, anytime, you know? And I ended up starting in September, around the end of August, September. And he told me, well, would you like to go to training in England? You know, I said, you could send me now. I ready, I pack. He said, no, it will be 2, you know, about a few weeks down the road. You know, set it up. So I said, okay, I will go, no problem. And went out to train in England, which was a very fun learning experience.
How long were you in England training?
I was there for like roughly about nearly 2 years. Yeah, because with everything, we had breaks in between and different things. One of the first break, I went to California, visit my sister, then I went back. And the second break, we went on tour Europe, a group of us, and we came back. You know, and I always tell people, I say, if you get a chance to go to England and all those things they used to ask you in O-levels about traveling from Penzance to this and all those places, I could see why they ask those questions, because it's a very scenic route. And I experienced it myself. But no way you could have answered that from Belize.
Of course not.
You know?
But you hit a very important card there, because that's what we were being taught in schools. Right. You know, you're using European examples, and there was no way that we could relate those examples to where we were living at the time.
Right. And one of the things what really captured I don't know if you remember David Copperfield.
Yes.
And
that story.
Yeah, the places are the same way. I was like, what? I mean, you know, things are modernizing, I didn't expect to see the place dim, lightly lit, same way, and there's mist and the brick houses, and like, man, come on, you guys can't get better house, you know? Yeah. And it was very interesting. Been around London quite a few times, been to concerts, been to different things. So the experience was good. And one of the things that really intrigued me was in summer when it gets hot to 74 degrees, people are fainting. And we are like, damn, man, this is great. And I used to tell the Englishman, I said, the sun is just a mere picture on the sky. No heating effect. Come to Belize. Yeah? So we had fun there. Then after I finished that, I went back to Belize. I worked with Cable and Wireless, did a lot of technical stuff, worked along with guys like Luke from Radio Belize.
Luke Stewart.
Yeah, Luke Stewart and Rosado. He was
they were at Radio Belize.
Right. And we had fun, coordinating different things and issues and how to get over them. Then we.
For our young cameraman, maybe we should explain a little bit what you mean by working with Rosado, and why would you be in Cable and Wireless and then working people in the radio station. And that was because they were all in the same building. Yeah, the building had a bit of the information department before it moved to Belmopan. Right. It had offices, downtown offices for Cable and Wireless, who had its exchange in Ladyville. And then it had Radio Belize on the top floor. And then they had the studios of Radio Belize were there. And then they had the local telecommunication, which had just started, which was the foundation of today's BTL, which was BTA. So it was all in the Albert Catus building, and that's why you would see Luke Stewart, that's why you would see different people, Raymond Charlie, you know, even though some of them were radio, but we all worked in the same building.
Right. We used to be in the exchange part working with this guy. He had died recently, sorry to say that, but Acosta. Raymond Charlie and all of the guys, you know, work together. We share knowledge, we do things, and we get things done. And coming to evening, and that's when we solve a lot of problems. We beat at the watering hole.
You never invite me to the watering hole, Wilburn, you know, because I was a young announcer at that time, but you never invite me to the watering hole.
You know, it's funny because guys just came. I never know about it until they say, hey, let's go and have a drink. I say, okay. And every guys just came, you know, and we sit down and discuss the day's work and what we're experiencing and how we could resolve it and try different techniques and do different things. And the problem was solved, you know, and we'll come back and say, yeah, man, what you try, tell me work or what you did, you know, and we all build trust amongst ourselves. So you could call the guys and say, hey, man, I got this problem or so and so, you know, what do you think? And we all share information, you know, and that I think that was the key to success with BTA and everybody doing things, you know. And there were guys there like Fred Williams, you know, that also.
There was a lot of good people, too numerous to mention. I would think we might leave somebody out and they might get vexed today.
True, you know, and Hassan, who was one of the guys with the radio, you know, and the managers there were guys that came back from UWI, Noble, and funny because Noble used to teach me physics, right, in technical. So, you know, we all get along and did great. Then after some years with Cable and Wireless and Belize became independent and we look at situation, I was to go back to England and the Cable and Wireless manager at the time decided, you know, send me and send the other guy. And I said...
Around what year did you migrate to the U.S.?
I migrated in 85, around March.
In March 85? Yeah. Okay.
And I came on a vacation, and then I decided, you know what, let me just stay.
And it was prompted by you were telling me what prompted that decision, so go ahead.
Well, in the process, what caused that situation was, like I said, the guy, I was qualified to go back, and this other guy was there older than me. He'd been there a long time, and he get qualified, and they decided they would send him. They could have sent both of us, but they decided just to send him. So I realized based on what was going on, that Cable and Wireless will eventually leave the country, and I will left stuck with not advancing my training, right? So I just decided, it's best for me to look after myself and try and see what I could go from there.
So you came to visit and you stayed?
Well, my mom filed for me, and I basically used it as a stepping stone to say I'm going to have a vacation, and then I resigned from there once I start working.
What was it like to settle here in the United States as far as you're concerned?
You have to remember, when we come over here, we are behind the 8 ball. And when I say behind the 8 ball, a lot of the people who you're competing with in the open field, they grow up, born in America, they are part of the system, so now you have to adapt to the new system, right? And if you're going to adapt to the new system, you have to make some sacrifice. You know, I went to school, I did some schooling with Miami-Dade Community College with FAMU, and I did all my courses. I just never continued to say get my degree. I did, but I meet the one requirement left, and I never get to it because there was so much work going on that I couldn't had time in what I was doing. I enjoyed the communication business. One of the hard things for me when I was over here was to decide which way should I go. because in Belize we did everything in telecommunication. You know, we did computers, we did telephony, we did radio, we did diesel. You know, we maintained diesel engines, and we did a lot of stuff. So we basically, with that said and done, we said, look, it's hard to decide which area should I go in. America is segmented, you know, it's like, because of population, you know, if you do phones, it's just phones. You know, if you do computers, it's just computers. If you're going to do programming, it's just programming, you know. And I like programming, but I decided I don't want to be in a situation where I can't move around. Yeah. So, because I already was in a position where I move around and do things and nobody, you know, over your shoulder and that sort of thing. So I end up in doing voice, which is telephones, and PBX switching and all that, which I already know. And the government, Dade County, had their own telecommunication system, so which I applied. And I got the job, and I went on from there. I went and get a new training on a new system. I came back and we worked. And like I said, there was so many things because they were changing out the old systems. When I came here, they were using 1A2 key systems, the old push button and you dial the person and then you have an intercom and you talk. And yeah, so we were getting rid of those old systems and we got the new computerized system, and I ran it for some years, and I ended up being supervisor, and I had a crew under me. I managed it for at least 10, 15 years, and then I decided just 6 months ago, well, in June, I decided to retire. And now I'm retired.
So you are a retiree right now.
After 37 years of working, you know, in the county. Okay. So that's a plus. But I made a sacrifice that when I came, I make sure my daughter got all the educational benefits. She decided to go in the military. I tell her, look, you're going in the military, don't go as a peon. Go as an officer. So she got her degree. She went in the military. She majored in what they call military science and medical science. And she ended up going to Iraq. She moved up the ranks. Now she's supposed to be going to be a lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
Yeah. And
congratulations.
She's stationed now down at Southern Command down here in Miami. So it's been pretty good, thank God, you know, and we try to keep a low profile and just get things done, you know. I've supported the Belize Association. As a matter of fact, I was a vice president.
I want to ask you what did you do
for some time. And then after a while, because of work, I had to back off on that for a long while. So.
But tell me something, did you ever visit Belize after leaving it over 35 years? What was your connection with Belize over those 35 years you were working?
Between you and I've been to Belize every 2 years. Within that 35 years, every 2 years I make sure I go back. I had a brother, I know you know my brother, Patrick Lawrence, we call him Beans. Yeah, he's my brother. And I go back every time, see him, see them. See the other relatives home, you know, just be around my people, you know. And when I'm going to Belize, it's like taking a big load off for you. Mm-hmm. You get there, it's like you're in a natural habitat, your body feels different. I think it's less stress, right? And I come out here and had a good fun. I start again and start to work hard, you're just doing things, and it's like a rat race, you know, and as you get older, it catch up on you, you know? And I just basically take it easy and just do the work. And at a point, I just every 2 years, even in the COVID, I went back home. Oh, okay. Yeah. And we had fun, and I came back out. As a matter of fact, I was to go yesterday, but I didn't go. I let the wife go. and I have some things I have to get done. That's why I have stayed. But I try to visit Belize as much as often as I could. And now that I retire, I probably will go every year or something. And
When we come back, Defoe speaks of the changes he has seen in Belize over the years, as well as some recommendations for better governance. More of our conversation after this break.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited project became a reality because Belizeans believed in the project and invested in its development, construction, and implementation. Equity financing for the project featured investments from local enterprises as well as one foreign investor. The public-private partnership structure of the project facilitated government's ownership of a 25% stake at no cost to the taxpayers. Debt financing for the project featured the successful launch of Belize's first ever project bonds, some $30 million financed by a cross-section of institutional investors. Investments came from credit unions, notably St. Francis Xavier Credit Union and Holy Redeemer Credit Union, insurance companies, pension funds, and commercial banks. In addition, the project managed to successfully secure some $12 million in debt financing from the IDB Invest. The IDB's participation in this debt financing is a testament to their belief in the environmental, social, and governance principles taken on by the developers of this project. This project is a testament to the growth and development of Belize's financial system. It shows confidence of Belizean investors to put their money behind homegrown and developed projects that contribute to our national development. I am proud of this project and I'm hopeful that there are many more like it to come.
The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. Barry. Get more? Pay less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from.
You have seen the progress in Belize over the years.
Yeah.
Can you comment on this progress?
Belize has progress. You know, you could see it in the buildings, in the structure, and a few things. The roads, I was surprised at the road going to PG, how good it was. The only problem is I think the connection between the Southern Highway from the Belize, or we call Price Highway.
Price Highway.
Yeah. From there, I think that one is still need to redo, right?
The George Price Highway is the road between Belmopan and San Ignacio.
Okay. Then the one between Belmopan and Belize City, where you have mile 31.
It's also the George Price Highway.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, you're talking about the coastal highway. Well, I got used to the paving that, and it's very nice right now.
That's good.
It's almost three-quarter done.
That will cut a lot of mileage down to PG.
It's almost three-quarter done.
Okay, good. That's great. So that's my next trip. You know, but I end up going back, I go to the Keys. I love the Keys. You know, go to Kikaka. I don't go to San Pedro much. It's more Kikaka. I've been to Boca Chica, which was pretty good. I enjoy that. You know, I try to explore different areas as I go, and you're kind of tourist in your own country. And I have property there, so I still go and see what's going on. I kind of disappointed in the banking system, which I know we don't have control over what's going on there, but U.S. have basically hold small countries to a standard that they really have no control over, you know, and locals can't do their own transaction with their family the way it should because of all these extra rules that they have there. If I have a bank account in Belize, locally, right? And I know if I send money to put in there, they're going to charge me $50 to put money in my own account. That doesn't make sense. And I already paid to transfer the money in, you know, to send it over, right? It kind of defeats the purpose, you know? How would you help the country if you can't transact and be fair and reasonable to the person that's doing the transaction? Yeah. You know? So those are some of the things that we come across and have to work with out here to try and figure out how to not get around, but to try and minimize the impact on our pockets. Because remember, we are not rich. You know, we are working stiff like everybody else, and we, like I said, we never came over here in a thing where we had the opportunity to say win the lotto or we had a big company and we make it, you know, that sort of thing. And not everybody will get that opportunity. Some will, some don't, right? So the majority of Belizeans who send money back home, which is through the diaspora and different things we do, organizations we help from the diaspora helping Belize send kids through college and do different things, send different equipment to help from time to time. Whether it's Miami, whether it's New York, California, at least we should have some kind of representative in the House to let Belizeans vote.
That's an advice you're giving the government, especially now that we are doing constitutional reform?
Yeah, that would be very helpful in part of the reform. Because most countries who are independent allow their citizens to vote, even through the embassy, right? A mail-in ballot or whatever, or you put a representative to help with our affairs or thing to help the country. It will benefit the country.
So let me be clear on this, on what you were asking here. You are saying that there should be a seat in the National Assembly allocated to a member that contested the elections in the diaspora.
Right.
And is voted as, the diaspora vote for a representative that will be a part of our National Assembly.
That's correct.
That's what you're saying.
That would help. You know, because they have to, because at the end of the day, we're all Belizeans. If you want the place progress, you should, and we have contributed economically to the country.
In short, it's converting the diaspora into a constituency.
Right. Exactly. And that would help the country also, because at least the people feel they are part of something. They're giving back something. They're doing something. You know, people come home, there are issues that go on, and they end up leaving. We need to open up to when we go back home to live or to do things to help the country, that it's, you know, you accept it and allow people to part the knowledge and do things.
You know, that person will be able to stand up in the House of Representatives and represent the people in the diaspora and say, this is what we believe and this is what we'd like to see for our country.
Exactly, and which would help, right? And I think at the end of the day, the government will be happy with it, you know, or the people will be happy with it. You know, it's time for us to grow, not to stay stagnant, not to put things in place to allow the country to progress economically. And I mean, a prime example situation is when the COVID happened. You see what happened when the place shut down. You see tourism gone to zero. You see different things happen. Who the people that they rely on? They try to rely on their relatives to help them during the hard time, even though the relatives are going through some hard times too, right? So it comes with I would say a price. It comes with some sort of gratitude to say, okay, look, we are all Belizean. We help each other, but at least give us a voice to help shape the country so that we could improve and progress. And I think it will work out well, you know? On the constitutional part of the reform that they're trying to do, they need some checks and balance, to be honest with you. The Senate need checks and balance. The representatives who are the politicians in the House should not be there trying to run the day-to-day part of the country. Let the CEO handle that, right? Their thing is to make policy. They shouldn't be there trying to serve the community at the same time, trying to be a minister at the same time. Let the professional people who are the minister in that area be the minister. Or maybe we need to elect the ministers or something, I don't know. They need to have some checks and balance so that way the country could improve and progress. I know we handle the English system, but we still could intertwine a mixture of both.
You're saying that there should be a clear separation between the executive and the judiciary, that representatives should limit themselves to making laws and presiding over the running of the country as against being involved in the actual day-to-day running.
And have a limit on some of the terms for different people, you know, so that way you could get fresh idea and it could progress, you know, because once you have people there for a long period of time, then you won't progress, right? But with people coming in fresh new ideas and people decide, okay, you know, let's give this person a chance, you know, you could progress, right? You know, put term limits on, you know, houses, or term limit on Senate or things like that, and elect the Senate. You know, at least you got the people who are the Senate and have them the ability to, if something is not, a bill is not going to help the country or something, send it back to the House, let the House decide, you know, things like that. And, you know, you should be able to see some progress with that afterwards, you know. And like I discussed one time, you have committees, let the House committees do their job. And let the minister, that's it, and let the CEO work with them or whatever the case is, and hopefully get some resolution and get things going.
Actually, maybe you could see the CEO as a deputy minister,
Right?
right? And the minister, the operation chief of the ministry.
Right.
But then the minister who really responds for the ministry is accountable to the committee in the National Assembly. I think that's what you're trying to get at.
Right, which would do. And that would allow at least people to see there's an open transparency and things could move forward, you know? Right now, I look at many of the things that go on, and like there's no solution to anything. Both sides, both parties do the same thing, you know? I remember one time one party was campaigning, oh, we're going to put some checks and balance in the Senate. Nothing. Next one get in, still nothing, right? So if you're going to move with the world the way it's going, you have to change to progress.
And these sentiments that you're expressing here, have you discussed them with other Belizeans that live out in this area?
Yeah, I've discussed. Every time we meet and talk, we talk about different things and we discuss it. And they kind of agree. They say, yeah, you know, but they don't do nothing because it suits them, you know. Everything personal interests rather than country interests. And that's where the problem comes in.
Now, what benefits you see accruing? Let's take one of your recommendations, and that's the one for the member for the Diaspora Relations in the National assembly. Like, so what benefits you see happening or coming the way to the diaspora through that level of representation?
From the diaspora standpoint, I think we could see the representative that went to get elected, or that we could probably coordinate certain business thing to occur in the country, maybe to, because of the size and number in Belize, we could look at different issues to say, well, okay, how can we improve Belize in terms of business, in terms of jobs, in terms of giving them opportunity to do different things to help the country economically, and both condition-wise are the regular people. Because one of the things I keep saying, tourism come to Belize, but the lower people are not getting anything. Yes, the people at a certain circle gets all the money, but the locals, they are just getting little change here and there, which doesn't help the country, right? I remember there was one time there was a guy, they had a farm, what they call it, shrimp farm. The people were working. I spoke to some of the people there and that work doing the shrimp and thing, and all of a sudden the owner just picked up and left. Boom. People didn't get pay. That's not fair. That's not right. Learn another thing, whatever industry, give the local Belizean a chance to do it so they could grow and could improve. In investment, you have to take risks. You have to allow people to grow, and you have to work with them to overcome any difficulties, right? But they don't do that, right? Somebody will come from outside, and you give them the break and the opportunity, and they rape the country, and they're gone. Leave all the people hanging who was getting paid or whatever. They leave the country with a gap. Now you end up those people looking for trying to give work. But if they were done by locals who were own it and be a part of it, guess what? It probably would still be there, working great, right? That's right. It's just like fishes. Fishes is local, right? When they started out lobster, I think you remember all the fishermen, they come together and they make
Farm
cooperative, and eventually it's still going on, right? What, 20 years later, 30 years later, it's still going on. That's what we have to do as a small country. The Mennonites come to a country, they are part of Belizean now, but you go to Spanish Lookout and see how they have it. It's like day and night, like what happened, what went wrong?
You think one of the ways of solving this too is being united when it comes to national development and people-oriented affairs? Right. Well,
when it comes to national development, the people and both parties, you have a university, use the university with some of the research. Get together with, like you said, with the committee and come up with viable ideas of how to implement it and do it, right, with the support of the government. There are different projects and different things in the country that will benefit the country that shouldn't be politics, right? You walk the same road I walk, right? And I sure know you don't want to walk in a hole.
No.
Right? So, I mean, a prime example, you say it rained and the thing broke away. Is it poor construction, or is it afterthought that they didn't do proper drainage or maintenance? Spend the money. Two things, you have to invest in education with the local youths and people, and you have to invest into your infrastructure for you to make things grow and happen.
Sitting here right now, Wilburn, do you have any intention of maybe one day moving back and living in Belize?
That was my intention when I first came out here. But to be honest with you, I love Belize. It's part of me. But we have to do something with that crime. We have to manage that crime. That foolishness with blacks shooting blacks over foolishness, it doesn't make sense, right? We need to do something more constructive.
What recommendations would you give?
My recommendation is, look, you get the people together, since they are so smart and they could hustle and make money, then maybe you need to get them some training to look at some industry that they could be funded that will produce funds to make the money. Something in agriculture, cash crop. What you call cannery. All the fruits we make, all the fruits we have, we could can it, produce it to syrup, different things, and export it or sell it locally or sell it to the Caribbean or Central America or something. We don't have to only rely upon just the item grow, the corner market, and then it rotten and it disappear, right? Let's see how we could harvest it and market it or do something, but you need the government, you need everybody to partake. Like I say, you got the universities involved, you got other people, and you got people could go out there and maybe do some farming and make some money or go to high-scale farming, whatever they want to do, but you got to sit down and train these people because not everybody is academic, right? But if you train and they see they're making good money or making something decent and their work paying off, they will probably change their ways because they get older too, right? And all this shooting each other doesn't make sense, right? What do you gain by shooting a person? Nothing, right? Nothing. Because now you come out, somebody shoot you, again, all your life wasted from that.
Agree.
You know, so the progress and the government and the judicial system, which has breakdown, the police department, which has suffered some breakdowns, it seemed to be the legislative and everything seemed to be failing at different points, right? They have to keep the integrity. Like I said, don't let politicians involved in the day-to-day running of the country. They should be making policy, right? They shouldn't be threatening a policeman because he got somebody whole, right? Let the thing take its course, right? Again, we have to be accountability. And if nobody held accountable, then we're gone to the dogs.
We wrap up our conversation with Wilburn Defoe as he speaks of the importance of engaging the diaspora.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited project became a reality because Belizeans believed in the project and invested in its development, construction, and implementation. Equity financing for the project featured investments from local enterprises as well as one foreign investor. The public-private partnership structure of the project facilitated government's ownership of a 25% stake at no cost to the taxpayers. Debt financing for the project featured the successful launch of Belize's first ever project bonds, some $30 million financed by a cross-section of institutional investors. Investments came from credit unions, notably St. Francis Xavier Credit Union and Holy Redeemer Credit Union, insurance companies, pension funds, and commercial banks. In addition, the project managed to successfully secure some $12 million in debt financing from the IDB Invest. The IDB's participation in this debt financing is a testament to their belief in the environmental, social, and governance principles taken on by the developers of this project. This project is a testament to the growth and development of Belize's financial system. It shows confidence of Belizean investors to put their money behind homegrown and developed projects that contribute to our national development. I am proud of this project, and I'm hopeful that there are many more like it to come.
The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Honduras, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. Barry, get more, be less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from.
It has been an honor, Wilburn, and a pleasure to talk with you. And I thank you for your ideas, and I can see you have a lot of interest and love for Belize. You know, you have not lost that, and that is something I've sensed in talking with Belizeans over here in the Miami area, that they have not lost their love for Belize. As a matter of fact, they have preserved their love for Belize and would like to see better for our country. So before I leave, though, I will just allow you to say whatever's on your mind at this point in time.
Well, my thing on my mind is to basically have Belize improve, have the people have a better way of life, have the kids get a good education because the education system is failing. We may need to go back to the basics, whether reading, writing, arithmetic, whatever, and build a foundation. Then from that, you could do all the other things you want. One of the things that hurt Belize educationally, I think, was getting rid of technical. Technical serve as a stepping stone for a lot of the poor communities to have their kids go and get a high school.
Again, Wilburn, I got the news for you. The education system has been looked at by government. I think there's a new curriculum being implemented. And in fairness, we'll have to see how it works. You know?
I was looking at it too with what the ministers and they were pushing, and I don't know what will be the outcome. It's something like you say you have to try. One of the first things and stepping stone, which I was very disappointed in, is where the kids couldn't just go to school like how we did. There was a fight between, I think, the government and the different religious entities that control the schools about how much students back and forth, and you end up with a situation where they wanted the parents to pay $125 per kid or something like that. And I think that could have been resolved quite easily by just having somebody at government at the school, when time to the school start, to the kid come in and you write the name down, check her in or whatever, and father, both the religious entity and them agree on the figures, because that's what you buy along to, and rather than went around it the way they did. You know, and I think educating your people makes a difference in how your country advances.
Well, recently I learned that the government schools on the south side of Belize City will be offering free education right through, and also they'll be offering a meal a day to students, so which I think is a step in the right direction.
I agree with that 100%. And like I say, based on that, if they keep it up, let's see how it goes. They should see an advancement and improvement. Look,
I would hope it could go across the country.
We could sit here for hours and discuss things because I mean, I was a product of the educational system. And many of the guys out here are a product of the educational system. And it hurt us to see, you know, it got torn down, especially at the tertiary level where the people who are doing things, the bureaucrats, your technocrats, those are the people who make the machinery run, right? The people who do mechanic, electricians, all these things. And one of the things that struck me in the whole thing is that, yeah, they were great tradesmen, but they were never taught the business to run the business or the trade.
Entrepreneurship.
Right, which is entrepreneurship. And those are things giving everybody would help the country to grow. And I've seen a few things where the government have stepped in and helped a few things and that, but we have to be automated rather than just relying on someone to do things, right? And it makes a difference. The people of Belize are great. They're workers, they try. The ones that look for handout, I think we need to let them know, look guys, nothing is free. We all have to earn and work for it. I get a joke, when I first went to Belize back the first 2 years I was out here, went back and guys were standing, give me 5. I said, I want 5. To make I stand by side of you, maybe I could hustle. You know? Yeah. I said, the overall country, the food is good. Keep the quality of the food going because that's important. That's why tourists go back. They have good food. You hear them talk about it all the time. Man, the food was great. It wasn't expensive, but it was great. You know, it was nice. I've been to nearly a lot of restaurants in Belize, nearly Celebrity, Bird's Eye, this one, that one. You know, and I enjoy the local food. Especially the ones with fire heart. And yes. I saw you on the show. I said, actually, I've been there with Ready Make I eat some of those. You know? Yeah. But the whole idea is we got to maintain the culture. We got to maintain with things. Whether it's Carib, whether it's Belizean, coffee, or music-wise, or do whatever, we got to maintain these things because it's part of your history. You know, when I came up in technical and did history of Belize, there are many things that weren't taught to us coming up through school, right? But by talking to these people that time, it was Mr. Vernon, Leslie, and these guys, and you know, we learned a lot of stuff about Belize that was in the archives and what went on and different things. Those are history. You need to teach the people so they understand where they're coming from, what we went through, what our foreparents went through. You want to start another show again because you just touched another thing that's there and close to me. Because I always say, and the theme of this show sort of reflect what we mean, which is knowledge of the past, impacting the present, and shaping the future. Because if you don't understand your base, you don't understand your past, right? It's hard for you to appreciate where you are at this point in time, right? And so because you're not aware of where you're at because you don't understand the past, right, it's hard for you to decide where you want to go as well. And I say, okay, I'll do it, you know, got the exceptions to everything. Yeah. But knowledge of the past impacts the present and shapes the future. Right. So they go together. Exactly. Right? Because you're mapping a part that you will see your progress.
If you had had knowledge of Belize before you came to the United States, because like you were saying, I gathered from you that in the teachings that you had in high school, there was not much about Belize. There was more about, let's say, David Copperfield, for argument's sake. And what have you, and the mother country, right? And not necessarily Oliver Cromwell and that sort of thing was what you were taught. But if you were taught about the beauty of the Belize River, the beauty of the various peoples that make up Belize, the fact that there's a new river lagoon, which is very historic, the fact that there are forts in Orange Walk and in other parts of the Corazon and other parts of the country, the role played. If you knew all the story of Belize, how we got our independence, the road to it, and what have you, would you really think that you would like to leave it, or would you feel more endeared to it?
Right.
But would that have helped you? Would that have helped you in your decision?
I knew some of those things you mentioned because I used to go to Northern Lagoon, Malante, different parts up the river and different things. And my problem at the time...
But you traveled, you never had that in school?
No, I never had that in school because the relatives and friends who take me.
You're an exception.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a real exception when it comes to that. I told some people about things and they were like, oh, I didn't know that, you know? Yeah. And one of the things I find at the time when I made that decision was basically a matter of lack of opportunity, lack of seeing a future to progress to a certain point, right? And even though I love Belize, I needed to gain certain experience in the technical field that I wouldn't have been able to get fully at that time when I wanted it, right? And I had a daughter and I had to decide, well, look, I need to give her something before I leave this earth, right? And she has always go back to Belize and do things, so it pays from a different angle, right? But I also have contributed to sports sometime. I used to give the kids them soccer balls to play, and they have funds to, help through. I don't know if you remember Rupert. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, you need some ball. I said, sure, no problem. And get the kids. He had a little tournament going with them and thing, which is good. When I told guys, I said, when we came up, we used to be playing in yards. Mm-hmm. We play soccer, we play different sports, right? We run, we jump, we swim, we do things, but as kids, right? We fight, like all kids, but nobody shoot nobody and they play a video game and thing because they weren't existing. Yeah. But we had fun. We had camaraderie. We used to meet and party or have different birthdays and things. And not much, but we all run around and enjoy ourselves. When we used to have bazaar, we all go and support the bazaar for the churches or whatever, and we had fun there, right? I told guys, I said, man, I used to look forward to Wesley Bazaar because I know the best rice and beans are there, things like that, So my memory of Belize is very strong with regards to being a place you could walk, nobody to harass you. Nobody did look for you, want to shoot you.
So the Belize of today is a different Belize?
Totally different since we became independent. It changed. And I think, like I was telling one of the gentlemen here, it changed when the president of America sent back all these guys who were in jail for whatever reason to Belize, with nothing given to these poor places to handle it. It happened to Salvador, to Honduras, all these places, even in Caribbean. Mm-hmm. We all have the same problem because they created it for us. Without anything in place to deal with it, or how to manage it, or how to keep it on the wraps. And now you see the consequence of that. Young kids getting shot for no reason, other people getting shot for no reason, or, something when they don't have nothing control over, right? Is the government able to handle these things? It's been difficult. Yeah, and they buy a lot of money. But your security depends on controlling these things or having a handle on these things, right?
How do we get a handle on these things?
it come back again to the parents, the keeping the kids in school, teaching them values, bring back civic pride. You remember in school you used to have civic pride, they keep the place clean, do this, do that, and you know, those are important little things that help people to appreciate and look at life, no matter if you're poor, no matter if you're rich, that you maintain a certain discipline or standard for you to progress, right? And I'm hoping that Belize would look at these old ways we used to do things and say, look, this worked for us, maybe we need to implement it in this and progress. You know, use the universities, use these institutions to come up with novel ideas, because things have changed. Now you have video and all these things. And the police and them have to really, I know it's difficult, like you say, it's a money thing, but you have to find a way to control flow of guns and different things in the country, right? And you can't arrest the whole household because one man has something wrong. You know, that's ridiculous. You're not solving the problem. America dump people in a jail for simple things, for things where they not do, and you not solve no problem. You have to address the root cause of the problem, right?
And it is?
The root cause is,
What is?
you know, money. How they make how they could make money, how they could do things. So you have to look upon it from an economic and social standpoint. The people poor, they have to eat, they have to live, right? So now the kids go out there and hustle. Whether it's right or wrong, they hustle. You start with stealing something and then they sell it and they bring the money home, they eat. The parents don't understand where they get the money from because they're all hungry, they want to eat, right? So you have to address the root cause.
There should be opportunities for all, that's what you're saying.
Opportunity and basically have the social system to help the family and the household to progress. I've had friends call me, boy, I'm hungry, and you could send me at least $10. I mean, it breaks my heart, right? Like, damn. And I know they're hungry. Because it's not something they're going to go. Because when I send them the $10, guess what? They send me a picture of the food where they're going to eat, buy if eat. So, you know, I'm saying that shouldn't have to be. Renee, you and I know with Belize you had people who were dirt poor, but they keep their house clean and they eat, right? And they make sure you go to school. And you know, I hear no complaint for the teacher because they beat you and keep your discipline. Today, some of those people have become successful. Some of those people have advanced, right? From a poor family, right? So you have to look at how to get back and resolve these things and implement it, you know? You and I may dead and gone, but the others will carry on, and they have to see progress. So with all my Belizeans, work the plan, and success will come.
Thank you for talking with me and sharing your opinions. You know, I learn a lot from these shows, so definitely listening to you, I might pick up a lot of what you're saying. And I want to thank you for agreeing to talk with me, because one thing I know and what I've sensed in most people that I've spoken to here is this love for Belize. You know, there's always this love for Belize, and there's always this caring for Belize and wanting to contribute in some way or fashion. So the diaspora is indeed very important to Belize, and so it should be given the respect and the attention that it deserves. You know, so that love can be reciprocal, you know, and move to create better opportunities for all our people.
I agree with that 100%. The people out here in America, the Belizeans, should have a right to vote and have some say in the country's movement. and have the ability to make the country progress. You know, creating opportunities, creating investment, creating whatever to help it in progress.
You are longing to see the day when Madam Speaker or the Speaker of the House will say, we recognize the member representing the diaspora in the National Assembly. That's what you're heading for. That's what you're advocating for.
And once we get there, I think things will start to change. You'll see things behave different. Because you have to coordinate. You know, America is huge. People are scattered. Belizeans are scattered. But you'll start to get them to gravitate towards working with Belize to get things done. You know, so hopefully with God's blessing and you guys' good work, you guys do a very integral part in sharing and helping the country to understand. You know, when you go back home, you don't want people to, oh man, you going out think you know everything and you want to. No, it's not about that. I'm a Belizean just like you. I'm just sharing some knowledge where we see things from a different picture and you see things from a different standard that you being in it, right? But if you come together and you listen to the ideas and look at it and think, guess what? You have something that could grow.
That's right. And it's mutual love, right?
Yeah.
And we choose to love.
Exactly.
So when we choose to love, you know what we say on Love FM, right?
Yeah.
You know what we say? Belize and beyond, meaning the diaspora, right? Thanks for choosing love. Belize Watch. Knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the